Hi there fellow investors, AMD beats Q3 estimates on top and bottom line and offers a strong Q4 guidance. This is the headline of the day, and today I'm going to show you why the stock price is down even though the news are positive. And I think AMD, whereas it's a great stock, it's a little expensive, it's not on the cheap side, so if you hold it for the long term that might not matter as much, but in the short term you have to expect a certain downside, and today I'm going to show you why. Thanks for tuning in. So as we can see, the stock was down 3.7% today already during the day, and after market close it's down about 1.5%, even though the news were really good. So why is that? So first of all, let's have a look at what they have reported. Q3 revenue has seen nice growth. You can see compared to $6.8 billion in Q3 2024, 1 year later now it's $9.2 billion. So this is solid growth, 36% year over year, came in above expectations. And they stated here, okay, revenue growth driven by broad-based demand across our data center, AI server and PC businesses. They are also emphasizing here that their gross margins have improved really. This certainly played a role in the result. Operating income is up, diluted earnings per share are higher than expected. Analysts had expected slightly lower earnings per share, so and as you can see, also quite a jump. On a GAAP basis, EPS are up around 60%, so this is a solid result, solid growth right here. And this is a summary of all the results that we just mentioned. If you want this as a summary, you can have a look right here. And this slide is also very interesting because we can see the result per segment right here. So data center is up 22%, the net revenue. Client and gaming has seen the strongest growth, up 73%, which is very interesting. So here we can basically see the upcycle again of the cyclicality basically. So cycle was down, now it's coming up. This is why the growth is so strong right here, and it has almost caught up with the net revenue of the data center segment, which is impressive. And embedded, the smallest segment, even down 8%, so not interesting at all, I have to say. Their cash pile has grown as well. I also updated my intrinsic value calculation according to the earnings report today. I will give you this calculation at the end of the video, so stick around for that. And total debt has more or less stayed the same, and this is a good result. They have more cash and debt has not increased. This is financially very healthy. They also increased their outlook on top and bottom line, as we saw in the news headline from Yahoo Finance. So also very positive here, positive news flash for investors basically. So nothing wrong with the result here, better than expected on all fronts basically. And how did they manage to develop this business so positively? Well, they were able to strike a strategic partnership with OpenAI, for example, and they are a really competition to NVIDIA at the moment because they are getting more and more backlog right here at the moment. As we can see here, AMD and OpenAI announced strategic partnership to deploy 6 gigawatts of AMD GPUs. And this is great news because they can sell their GPUs big time. And if they can deliver here, future deployments may be a result as well. So this is huge news, and they are right in the trend of the current times with a partnership with OpenAI. OpenAI is the hype at the moment, so they are right there where they have to be, where they want to be. So this is really good news. But then again, why is the stock price not moving, or why is it even declining? Well, showing you my intrinsic value calculation for the stock, you can see that I get an intrinsic value, including a margin of safety of 30%. I get a value of $226, and the current price sits at $250. So according to my valuation, it's actually slightly overvalued. It's not a lot, so it's still in a solid range. So I would say it's about fairly valued actually, but still it's higher up, and investors have high expectations for AMD, and they probably expected even more, or maybe they expected even more. And this is just the psychology behind the market. And beating estimates is not enough in these circumstances. circumstances, you have to beat them by a margin. And as you can see in my worst case scenario, at the lower end of the range, if we bought in now, there's a possible downside of 70%. Right there. So that is a major risk, and we can see this right here. So when I just zoom out on the yearly chart, the price has been there, right? The price was at $80 more or less only a couple of months ago. So this downside is very much realistic, and this is a real risk that investors face. So if AMD does not perform or outperform, then the price might go down. Of course, in the best case scenario, there's again a 2x or even more than a 2x of upside. But for this to materialize, they have to beat expectations by a margin. All right, I'm scrolling through my assumptions right here. In the worst case scenario, 10% of growth, which they should really manage, I think. A PE ratio of 18. Best case scenario, 134% of growth, which I found somewhere. It sounds ridiculous, but I found it somewhere. And a PE ratio of 60. So really the best case scenario that can happen. And normal case scenario, 62% of growth and PE ratio of 35, which is okay. You can see cash, I already updated that, $7.2 billion right there. Total debt of $3.2 billion. So they could pay off their debt anytime, still have a lot of cash over. So they are financially very healthy. Let me also give you a quick overview over the financials at the end. So you can see very stable growth right here, and growth is actually accelerating. It's picking up. That's good news. Earnings per share starting to go through the roof. Really good development because of their new partnerships that they have, and accordingly the free cash flow. So the question arises, is this a good investment right now? And debt to equity has come down, is very low, very healthy. So it's a really solid company. So no doubt about that. PE ratio for the trailing 12 months sits around 60, which is probably normal. And the PE ratio for the next 12 months sits around 40, which is really okay for a strongly growing company. For AMD, we have to see how long they can keep up this growth rate, because they are already a really large company, but surely they can keep growing for a while, I have no doubt. And a PE ratio for the next 12 months of 40 is certainly not overvalued, and I showed you this in my intrinsic value calculation. They are not ridiculously overvalued, and they are in the normal range, but still at the expensive end, at the higher end. And the return on invested capital was low, but has been coming up slowly but steadily in the past years. So the direction is the right one, even if it's not very high yet. So AMD, bottom line, is a great company. It's worth an investment always. It's just a matter of whether the price is right or not for me. And a couple of months ago, when I made a video on AMD, the price was below 100, and I said this is an incredible opportunity. You have to buy the stock, and I bought it. It was in my portfolio, and it turned out to be a great investment. Now that the price is at 250, it's more than a 2.5x or 3x even. It's a little higher up in the range, so it's kind of expensive, and expectations have to be solid. So if you plan on holding the stock for the long term, you can buy it at this price. It's expected to grow strongly in the future, but you have to be aware that market valuations are very high, especially in the tech field. So there is a downside risk of 70%, and that's not exaggerated. This is a realistic risk that you face as an investor. So if you open a position, it should not be your whole portfolio. It should be a small position so that you can add later once the price comes down again. Yes, the stock has also certain upside, I'm convinced of that, but I would not be surprised if the price comes down to 150 again at some point. Alright guys, let me know what you think about AMD. Would you buy it at this price or not? Do you have it in your portfolio? Are you holding the stock or are you selling it? Would be interested to know. And please hit the like and subscribe button if you like more stock analyses like this. Thank you for tuning in today, and I see you in the next one.